Are you tired of spending every single weekend working in your garden? What if I told you there are plants that practically take care of themselves, come back bigger and better every year, and look absolutely stunning while doing it? Today, I'm revealing the top 10 easy-to-maintain perennials that will transform your garden from a constant chore into a beautiful, self-sustaining paradise. These are the plants that professional landscapers use when they want guaranteed results with minimal maintenance, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly which ones to plant and how to keep them thriving for decades. Before we dive in, if you're tired of high-maintenance gardens and you're ready to work smarter, not harder, do me a huge favor right now. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss out on gardening tips that will save you time, money, and endless frustration. Trust me, your future self will thank you. Alright, let's go to the video. Let's talk about the reality of gardening for most people. You see those gorgeous gardens on Instagram and Pinterest, and you think, I want that. So you go to the nursery, buy a bunch of beautiful plants, bring them home, plant them with all the hope in the world, and then life happens. You've got work, family obligations, unexpected emergencies, and suddenly that garden you were so excited about becomes just another thing on your never-ending to-do list. The plants start looking sad, weeds take over, things die, and you feel like a failure. Here's the truth, it's not your fault. The problem is that most people are planting high-maintenance plants that require constant attention, perfect conditions, and expert-level care. It's like trying to keep the exotic sports car running when all you really need is a reliable truck that starts every time. That's where easy-to-maintain perennials come in. These are plants that have been battle-tested by nature. They've evolved to survive tough conditions. They don't need babying. And once they're established, they basically take care of themselves. We're talking about plants that come back year after year without replanting, tolerate drought once established, resist pests and diseases naturally, don't need constant fertilizing, look beautiful with minimal pruning, actually thrive on neglect. And here's the best part. These aren't boring plants. These are showstoppers. These are the plants that will have your neighbors stopping to ask what your secret is. The secret is simply choosing the right plants from the start. Now, I want to be clear about something. Easy to maintain doesn't mean zero maintenance. Every plant needs some basic care, especially in the first year when they're getting established. But once these perennials are settled in, we're talking about maybe 30 minutes of attention per plant per year. That's it. Compared to the hours and hours you'd spend on annuals or high-maintenance perennials, this is nothing. So over the next 30 minutes, I'm going to walk you through my top 10 easy-to-maintain perennials. For each one, I'll tell you exactly what makes it so easy, what conditions it prefers, how to plant it, what minimal care it needs, and what mistakes to avoid. By the end of this video, you'll have a complete game plan for creating a gorgeous, low-maintenance garden that will serve you for decades. Let's get into it. List item number 1. Daylilies, Hemerocallis. Okay, we're starting strong with the absolute champion of easy perennials, the daylily. And I'm not exaggerating when I say these things are nearly indestructible. In fact, there's a saying among gardeners, if you can kill a daylily, you should probably stick to plastic plants. They're that tough. Let me tell you what makes daylilies so special. First, they'll grow in just about any soil. Clay soil? Fine. Sandy soil? No problem. They're not picky. They prefer full sun. That's 6 or more hours of direct sunlight per day, but they'll tolerate partial shade and still bloom, just not quite as heavily. Now, here's where it gets really good. Daylilies are drought tolerant once established. That first year, yes, you'll want to water them regularly to help them settle in. But after that, they can handle dry spells like champions. I've seen daylilies survive weeks without water in the middle of summer and bounce right back. The flowers are absolutely stunning. Each individual bloom only lasts one day. That's where the name comes from. But each plant produces so many buds that you'll have continuous blooms for weeks, sometimes months depending on the variety. And there are thousands of varieties to choose from. I mean thousands. Every color you can imagine except true blue. Some are fragrant, some rebloom multiple times per season, some are evergreen in mild climates. Here's the maintenance rundown. Plant them in spring or fall. Dig a hole about twice as wide as the root ball. Mix in some compost if you want to give them a boost, but honestly, they'll grow without it. Water them regularly that first season. After that, here's your annual maintenance, literally once a year in early spring. Cut back any dead foliage from the previous year. That's it. You can deadhead the spent flowers if you want to keep things tidy, but you don't have to. You can divide the clumps every 3 to 5 years if they get too crowded, but again, you don't have to. They'll just keep blooming. The key benefit here is reliability. Daylilies will not let you down. They'll be there, looking gorgeous, year after year, with almost zero input from you. The only real caution is that they can spread and form large clumps over a time, so give them space. And if you have deer, be aware that deer love eating daylily buds. In that case, you might need some deer deterrent, but that's your only real challenge. Varieties I recommend. Stella de Oro is the classic. Yellow, reblooming, compact. Happy Returns is similar but lemon yellow. For something dramatic, try Black Stockings with deep purple blooms, or Primal Scream for bright orange. You really can't go wrong. List item number 2. Hostas. If daylilies are the kings of sun, hostas are the queens of shade. And when I say easy, I mean easy. Hostas are the go-to perennial for any spot in your yard that doesn't get much sun. Under trees, on the north side of your house, in that weird corner where nothing else will grow, hostas will thrive there. Here's what I love about hostas. They're grown primarily for their foliage, which means you get season-long beauty, not just a few weeks of flowers. The leaves come in every shade of green, blue, gold, and white, with variegated patterns that look hand-painted. Some varieties have tiny leaves the size of your thumb. Others have massive leaves bigger than dinner plates. Some grow 6 inches tall, others reach 4 feet. The variety is incredible. Most hostas prefer shade to partial shade. Some of the gold and yellow varieties can actually handle more sun, but generally you want to keep them out of hot afternoon sun, or the leaves will scorch. They like moist, well-drained soil that's rich in organic matter, but honestly, I've seen hostas thrive in terrible soil. They're adaptable. Here's your planting and care routine. Plant them in spring or fall. Dig a hole, add some compost if you have it, plant at the same depth they were in the pot, and water them in. That first year, keep them consistently moist. Once established, they're fairly drought tolerant, though they'll look better with regular water. Annual maintenance is minimal. In fall, after frost kills back the leaves, you can cut them down or just leave them. They'll decompose over winter. In spring, pull away any remaining dead foliage and maybe top dress with an inch of compost. That's literally it. They'll multiply slowly, and you can divide them every 4 to 5 years if you want more plants, but they're perfectly happy left alone. Now let's talk about the one real challenge with hostas. Slugs and deer. Both love hostas. For slugs, you can use organic slug bait, diatomaceous earth around the base of plants, or beer traps. For deer, you'll need repellent spray or fencing if they're a serious problem in your area. Some hosta varieties are more slug-resistant than others. Thicker, more textured leaves tend to resist slug damage better. The key benefit of hostas is they fill space beautifully with zero fuss. They're perfect for mass plantings, borders, or as specimen plants. They provide structure and color all season long. Recommended varieties. Sum and Substance is a massive chartreuse hosta that's slug-resistant. Blue Mouse Ears is tiny and adorable with thick blue leaves. Patriot has gorgeous white edges and is a vigorous grower. Guacamole has fragrant flowers and can handle more sun than most. List item number 3, Sedum, stone crop. Now we're getting into the true plant it and forget it category with sedums, also called stone crops. These succulents are so tough, so resilient, that they'll make you look like a gardening genius without even trying. There are 2 main types of sedums, low-growing ground cover types and upright types. Both are ridiculously easy, but I'm going to focus mainly on the upright varieties like Autumn Joy, because they're the most dramatic and useful in garden design. Sedums are succulents, which means they store water in their thick, fleshy leaves. This makes them incredibly drought tolerant. I'm talking, forget to water them for a month in the middle of summer and they're still fine, tolerant. They thrive in full sun and well-drained soil. In fact, the biggest mistake people make with sedums is overwatering them or planting them in soil that stays wet. That's basically the only way to kill them. The upright sedums like Autumn Joy are absolutely stunning. In spring, they emerge as tight rosettes of blue-green succulent leaves. Through summer, they grow into dome-shaped plants about 18 to 24 inches tall. In late summer to fall, they produce massive, flat flower heads that start out pale pink and deepen to rusty red. These flowers attract butterflies like crazy. Then in winter, the dried flower heads look beautiful covered in snow and provide food for birds. Here's your planting and care guide. Plant in spring or fall in well-drained soil. If your soil is heavy clay, amend it with sand and compost, or plant sedums in a raised bed. Water them occasionally that first year to help them establish, but don't overdo it. Once established, you literally don't need to water them unless you're in a severe drought. Annual maintenance. In early spring, cut back the previous year's growth to about 2 inches above the ground. New growth will emerge fresh and strong. That's it. You don't need to fertilize. In fact, too much fertilizer makes them floppy. You don't need to deadhead. You don't need to divide them for many years. They just sit there looking perfect. The key benefit is extreme low maintenance and year-round interest. Even the dead winter stems look architectural and beautiful. The caution is they need good drainage. That's non-negotiable. In soggy soil, they'll rot. Recommended varieties. Autumn Joy is the classic and still one of the best. Matrona has darker pink flowers and purple-tinged foliage. Brilliant has bright pink flowers. For ground cover types, Dragon's Blood has red foliage and is perfect for hot, dry areas. List item number 4. Coneflowers, Echinacea. Coneflowers are the backbone of the easy care pollinator garden. If you want a plant that attracts butterflies, bees, and goldfinches, looks gorgeous all summer, tolerates drought, heat, humidity, and poor soil, and comes back stronger every year with zero help. This is your plant. The classic coneflower is purple, Echinacea purpurea, with those iconic pink-purple petals and prominent orange cone centers. But modern breeding has given us coneflowers in white, yellow, orange, red, coral, and even green. Some are fragrant, some have double flowers, some are compact for small spaces. Coneflowers thrive in full sun and well-drained soil, but they're adaptable. I've seen them handle partial shade and clay soil without complaint. They're native to the prairies of North America, which tells you everything you need to know about their toughness. They evolved to handle blazing sun, strong winds, drought, and harsh winters. Once established, and we're talking about one season, coneflowers are drought-tolerant champions. They bloom from midsummer through early fall, and if you deadhead the spent flowers, they'll bloom even longer. But here's the thing, you don't have to deadhead. If you leave the seed heads, goldfinches will come feast on them in late summer and fall, and it's absolutely delightful to watch. Planting and care. Plant in spring or fall. Dig a hole, loosen the roots if they're pot-bound, plant at the same depth as the pot, and water in. Keep them watered regularly that first season. After that, they can handle dry conditions beautifully. Annual maintenance. In late fall or early spring, cut back the dead stems to about 2 to 3 inches above ground. You can also just leave them standing all winter for visual interest and bird food, then cut them back in spring. Every few years, you can divide the clumps if they get too large or if you want more plants, but it's not necessary. They'll happily stay in the same spot for decades. The key benefit is they're tough, beautiful, and support wildlife. They're also deer-resistant. Deer generally leave coneflowers alone. The caution is that some of the fancy hybrid colors aren't quite as tough as the straight species purple coneflower, so if you want maximum ease, stick with the classics. Recommended varieties. Echinacea purpurea is the classic purple and the toughest. White Swan is pure white and stunning. Magnus has large rose-purple flowers. If you want to try some of the newer colors, Cheyenne Spirit is a mix of colors and fairly reliable. List item number 5. Russian Sage, Perovskia atriplicifolia. Russian sage is one of those plants that makes you look like you really know what you're doing. But the truth is, it's one of the easiest perennials you can grow. This is a subshrub, meaning it has woody stems but dies back to the ground in cold climates like a perennial. Picture this, airy, cloud-like masses of tiny lavender-blue flowers on silvery stems with aromatic, finely cut gray-green foliage. It blooms from midsummer through fall, and it's a magnet for bees and butterflies. The whole plant has a soft, hazy appearance that contrasts beautifully with boulder plants, and the scent when you brush against it, it's somewhere between sage and lavender, is absolutely intoxicating. Russian sage loves hot, dry, sunny conditions. This is a Mediterranean climate plant that thrives on neglect. It wants full sun, I mean baking, all-day sun. It wants lean, well-drained soil. In fact, if you have a spot with terrible, poor, dry soil where nothing else will grow, Plant Russian sage there and watch it thrive. The biggest mistake people make with Russian sage is overwatering and over-fertilizing. Rich, moist soil makes it grow tall and floppy and prone to flopping over. Lean soil keeps it compact and sturdy. Planting and care. Plant in spring in a sunny spot with well-drained soil. Water it occasionally that first season, but don't coddle it. Once established, it needs almost no supplemental water except in extreme drought. Annual maintenance. In early spring, cut the entire plant back to about 6 to 12 inches above the ground. It will send up fresh new growth from the base. That's your only job. No fertilizing, no deadheading, no dividing, no staking if you've planted it in appropriate conditions. The key benefit is it thrives on neglect and provides months of color and pollinator support. It's also deer and rabbit resistant. They don't like the aromatic foliage. The caution is it can get large, 3 to 4 feet tall and wide, so give it space. Recommended varieties. Blue Spire is the most common and very reliable. Little Spire is a more compact version for smaller gardens, reaching only about 2 feet tall. Filigrane has especially fine, lacy foliage. List item number 6, Black-Eyed Susans, Rudbeckia. Black-Eyed Susans are the cheerful golden faces of late summer, and they're about as close to foolproof as you can get. These bright yellow daisies with dark centers light up the garden from midsummer through fall, and they do it with almost no care. Rudbeckia is another North American prairie native, which means it's built to handle tough conditions. Full sun, part shade, clay soil, sandy soil, drought, heat, humidity. Black-Eyed Susans handle it all. They're not fussy about pH. They don't need fertilizer, and they reseed themselves gently to fill in spaces without becoming invasive. There are several species and cultivars to choose from. Rudbeckia fulgida goldsturm is probably the most popular perennial variety, compact, floriferous, and long-blooming. Rudbeckia hirta is often grown as an annual or short-lived perennial, but it reseeds reliably. And then there are the taller varieties that can reach 5 to 6 feet for the back of the border. The flowers are incredibly long-lasting, both on the plant and as cut flowers. And just like coneflowers, the seed heads attract goldfinches and other seed-eating birds, adding even more value to your garden. Planting and care. Plant in spring or fall in full sun to part shade. They prefer well-drained soil, but tolerate clay better than most perennials. Water regularly the first season, then they're on their own. Once established, they're very drought-tolerant. Annual maintenance. Deadhead spent flowers if you want to extend blooming, or leave them for the birds. In late fall or early spring, cut back the dead stems. Every 3 to 4 years, you can divide the clumps if they get crowded, but they're happy left alone. The key benefit is reliable, cheerful color and pollinator support with minimal effort. They're also deer-resistant. The only caution is they can spread by seed and underground rhizomes, so they'll gradually fill an area. If you don't want them spreading, deadhead before seeds mature. Recommended varieties. Goldsturm is the gold standard. Compact, reliable, beautiful. Little Gold Star is a dwarf version perfect for small spaces. American Gold Rush is a taller variety for the back of the border. List item number 7, Catmint, Nipita. Catmint is one of those secret weapon plants that professional landscapers use constantly because it's so reliable and beautiful. Long spikes of lavender blue flowers, aromatic gray-green foliage, a mounding habit that works perfectly as an edging plant or filler, and blooms that last from late spring through fall if you give it one simple haircut mid-season. Now you might be wondering about the name. Yes, cats are attracted to some species of Nipita, but most ornamental catmints don't drive cats crazy the way catnip, Nipita cataria, does. I've grown catmint for years and never had an issue with neighborhood cats rolling in it. Catmint loves full sun and well-drained soil. It's drought-tolerant once established, deer-resistant, rabbit-resistant, and generally pest and disease-free. It blooms its head off with almost no care. Here's the one maintenance task that will make your catmint look amazing. After the first flush of blooms in early summer, shear the whole plant back by about 1/3 to 1/2. Just grab your hedge shears and give it a haircut. This does 2 things. It keeps the plant compact and tidy instead of floppy, and it triggers a second flush of blooms that will last through fall. Planting and care. Plant in spring or fall in full sun. Water regularly the first season. After that, it's drought tolerant and needs almost no care. Annual maintenance. Shear back by half after the first bloom in early summer. In fall or early spring, cut the whole plant back to about 4 inches above the ground. That's it. The key benefit is long bloom time with minimal care. Bees and butterflies absolutely love catmint. The caution is it can spread by underground runners and self-seeding, so you may need to pull out extras occasionally if it spreads too much. Recommended varieties. Walker's Low is the most popular. Despite the name, it grows about 2 feet tall. Six Hills Giant is larger, reaching 3 feet. Junior Walker is a more compact version of Walker's Low for small spaces. List item number 8, ornamental grasses, various species. I'm grouping ornamental grasses together because as a category, they're some of the lowest maintenance perennials you can grow. Grasses add movement, texture, and year-round structure to the garden, and most of them require nothing more than one annual haircut. Let me give you a few specific grasses that are absolute winners. Carl Forster, feather reedgrass, Calamagrostis x acutiflora, Carl Forster. This is the most popular ornamental grass in America, and for good reason. It's upright and narrow, perfect for tight spaces, reaching about 4 to 5 feet tall with feathery flower plumes in early summer. It's deer-resistant, tolerates clay soil, handles part shade, and is about as low maintenance as it gets. Maiden grass, Miscanthus sinensis. These are the classic large grasses with arching foliage and showy plumes in late summer. Varieties like Morning Light have fine-textured variegated leaves, while Zebrinus has horizontal yellow stripes. They're stunning as specimen plants or in mass plantings. Just be aware that some miscanthus can self-seed aggressively in warm climates, so choose sterile or less aggressive varieties. Blue fescue, Festuca glauca. This is a compact, tufted grass with blue-gray foliage that stays low, about 8 to 12 inches tall. It's perfect for edging in small spaces. It loves full sun and dry conditions. Here's what makes grasses so easy. Once established, most are drought tolerant. They rarely have pest or disease problems. Deer usually leave them alone. They don't need fertilizer. They don't need deadheading. They look beautiful in summer, fall, and even winter when covered in frost. Planting and care. Plant in spring. Most prefer full sun and well-drained soil, though some tolerate part shade. Water regularly the first season, then they're largely self-sufficient. Annual maintenance. In late winter or early spring, before new growth starts, cut the entire grass back to about 4 to 6 inches above the ground. You can use hedge shears, a string trimmer, or even tie the grass together and cut it with a saw if it's really large. That's your only job. The old foliage provides winter interest and habitat for beneficial insects, so don't cut it back in fall. The key benefit is 4-season interest with minimal care. The caution is some grasses can self-seed and spread, so research your specific variety. List item number 9, Salvia, perennial types. When I say Salvia, I'm not talking about the red annual salvias you see in boring municipal plantings. I'm talking about perennial salvias, hardy, drought-tolerant pollinator magnets that bloom for months with almost no care. The most reliable perennial salvias are Salvia nemorosa varieties. These form neat clumps of aromatic foliage topped with spikes of purple, pink, or white flowers from late spring through fall. They're compact, well-behaved, and absolutely stunning. Salvias love full sun and well-drained soil. They're drought-tolerant once established, and they bloom more profusely with lean soil. Rich soil makes them floppy. They're deer-resistant because of their aromatic foliage, and they're absolutely packed with nectar that hummingbirds and bees can't resist. The secret to keeping salvias blooming all season is deadheading. Now, before you panic, this isn't the tedious flower-by-flower deadheading of some plants. With salvias, you just wait until the first flush of blooms fades, then use hedge shears to cut back the flower stalks. Within a few weeks, fresh new flowers will emerge. Do this once or twice through the season, and you'll have continuous blooms. Planting and care. Plant in spring in full sun and well-drained soil. Water regularly the first season. After that, they're drought-tolerant. Annual maintenance. Shear back after flowering to promote rebloom. In early spring, cut back any dead stems and tidy up the plant. That's it. The key benefit is long bloom time and pollinator support with minimal care. The caution is they need good drainage. Wet winter soil can cause root rot. Recommended varieties. May Night has deep purple-blue flowers and is extremely reliable. Caradonna has darker purple flowers with dark stems. Rose Queen is pink. Marcus is earlier blooming with purple flowers. List item number 10. Peonies. I'm ending with peonies because they're the ultimate plant it once and enjoy it for a lifetime perennial. There are peonies in gardens that are over 100 years old and still blooming. Think about that. You can plant a peony today, and your great-grandchildren could be enjoying its flowers. Peonies are renowned for their massive, fragrant flowers in late spring to early summer. The blooms come in white, pink, red, and coral, and they can be single, semi-double, or fully double. Some varieties are so fragrant they'll perfume your entire yard. Here's what makes peonies so special. They're incredibly long-lived. They're cold-hardy down to zone 3. They're pest and disease resistant, mostly. And once established, they require almost zero care. They will literally outlive you. Now, peonies do have a few requirements. They need full sun, at least 6 hours. They need well-drained soil, and they need cold winters to bloom well, so they're not ideal for very warm climates, though there are some low-chill varieties. The most important thing is planting depth. Peony eyes, the growing points, should be no more than 2 inches below the soil surface. Too deep, and they won't bloom. This is the #1 reason peonies fail to bloom. Planting and care. Plant bare root peonies in fall. Plant container-grown peonies in spring or fall. Make sure those eyes are only 1 to 2 inches deep. Water regularly the first year. After that, they're quite drought tolerant. Here's the maintenance. In spring, as new growth emerges, you can stake them if you're growing the large flowered types that tend to flop in rain. Or choose single-flowered varieties that don't need staking. After blooming, deadhead the spent flowers. In fall, after frost, cut the foliage back to ground level and dispose of it to prevent disease. That's it. No fertilizing necessary, no dividing necessary for decades. The key benefit is spectacular blooms and extreme longevity with minimal care. The caution is they take 2 to 3 years to reach maturity and bloom heavily, so you need patience. They also attract ants, but the ants don't harm the plant. They're just after the nectar on the buds. Recommended varieties. Sarah Bernhardt is a classic pink double. Festiva Maxima is white with red flecks. Bowl of Beauty is pink with a creamy center. Coral Charm opens coral and fades to cream. It's stunning. Wow, we covered a lot of ground today. Thanks so much for sticking with me through this complete guide to easy-to-maintain perennials. If you're feeling overwhelmed, don't worry. You don't need to plant all the 10 of these at once. Start with 2 or 3 that appeal to you and that suit your conditions. Get those established, see how easy they are, and then add more. Remember, the key to success with perennials is matching the plant to your site. Don't try to grow sun-loving plants in shade or moisture-loving plants in dry soil. Work with your conditions, not against them, and choose plants that naturally thrive there. The beauty of these easy care perennials is that they give you more time to actually enjoy your garden instead of constantly working in it. They'll come back bigger and better each year. They'll support pollinators and wildlife, and they'll give you years of beauty with minimal effort. Gardening should be a joy, not a burden. These plants will help make that possible. If this video helped you, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps the algorithm show this to more people who need it. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future videos where I'll show you exactly how to plant these perennials, how to design with them, and how to combine them for maximum impact with minimum work. Drop a comment below and let me know which of these 10 perennials you're most excited to try. Or if you're already growing any of these, share your experience. I love hearing from you all. And I'll see you in the next video where we're going to talk about common mistakes people make with perennials and exactly how to avoid them so your plants thrive from day one. Until then, get out there, plant something easy, and enjoy your beautiful, low-maintenance garden.